first question, which is, as you can see, this year's topic of Explore ASEAN is the competition in ASEAN. It's the mix between competition and cooperations. So in just 3 or 4 sentences, how do you think competitions can help in ASEAN to achieve higher value?
In terms of Switzerland competing with ASEAN, I don't see that ASEAN as a whole, as a region, can be in competition with Switzerland, because ASEAN is indeed still growing, still developing. There are more cities, mega cities that still require more infrastructure and to grow. Yeah. And Switzerland itself is already highly developed, so the competition is really not there. It's mainly just that yes, they are up in the ranking, and therefore ASEAN is taking the position as a region to say that's where I want to be, that's my goal, and that's how they would move. I think that is more the competition that you are mentioning about. But in terms of cooperation, it is always there. Like I've mentioned to you, Singapore, that is leading the ASEAN group in ASEAN, is collecting intelligence, trying to distribute research around and innovation researchers around ASEAN because of cheaper labor and to also help the region to grow in general. Yeah, Switzerland comes into play, because like I've mentioned to you, it's really not about the competition. It's more like here's the target. But the Swiss people are quite open in business sense to actually share what they learned, how they get where they are, the preciseness, the effectiveness, the efficiency, and the technology. They are quite willing. I think a lot of Swiss SMEs are very willing to go into the region, invest in there, and start growing, partnering ASEAN companies to grow. Yeah.
Thank you for your answering. Mentioning about that process, what do you see can be the challenges for ASEAN in the future?
ASEAN, I don't. Well, it's generally the same kind of challenges if you are to compare a child learning how to ride a bicycle. Basically, that's the normal challenge. But I think the biggest challenge I see in ASEAN, with the help of Swiss, is that there will be a huge cultural clash in terms of cooperation. And then this cooperation might actually become a competition if they were to succeed. Because ASEAN has a very competitive landscape that once you make it there, your growth will be very high. Yeah, and then that's probably where Swiss companies might come into a break and say, hey, it's my technology, it's my company, and maybe we would like to do this another way. And I think that the culture about ASEAN, how to run an ASEAN company and what to do with the profit, can be quite different from what Swiss people would have in mind of how to run a business and how do I use then effectively my profits for the investors and the stakeholders. I think this might be the biggest challenge after the success. Growing into success is more like a learning how to ride a bike, so I won't see it's a big challenge. Yeah.
Yes, I can see. So with all of your situations, opportunity and challenges that you have mentioned, so where can you see the importance of ASEAN in general, or Singapore specifically, economy in the future?
ASEAN will grow. You will see. It's like 5 years ago when I was working in inside China. People ask, I am asking experts saying, what will become of China? And now China is the world. And it's the same thing that maybe now you will be asking me this question in the next 5 years. ASEAN will be the manufacturer of the world. And then China will become the technological innovation of the world. And I believe and I hope that there is this Asian coming wave, because we do have the ability, we do have what it takes, we have the manpower, we have the right mentality. That will come, and I hope it will come. But until then, ASEAN has a lot of lessons to learn from the Europeans and the US counterparts, because they have much more history than we do in terms of business, in terms of trading, in terms of conquering. So it's still a step there, but I think they will be able to make it. And you will see much more Asian talent coming into Europe to study, and what they learned from Europe, they will bring it back home, adjust it to their culture, and make it better. So
it's the same with Singapore, right?
yes, many of our system in Singapore are learned from everywhere in Europe. We have our taxes copied by the Swiss. We have also 3 pillars. Our dual education system is from Germany, and Germany took it to Switzerland. It's the same. We also have taxes of a percentage like Switzerland, actually lower, but the way of calculation and the corporate finance thing is also learned from Switzerland. It's like the next bank. Yeah, Singapore is the next bank, and Switzerland is the bank of the world. It's the same. That's it will grow. It will keep going like that. So we will learn from the best and try to be the best in our own region. Yeah.
In fact, it is already the best in the region.
We are trying to be the world. So that's mainly how it is. It's just like Switzerland trying to be the world as well, right?
Yes.
The US, I mean, if you have big powers, of course you have bigger say. And then it comes to politics, and it comes down to government, and it comes down to how much support you have and stuff like that. But I think success depends on how you define success. And ASEAN has not reached its success yet. It is trying to, as a whole, because Singapore is too small to fight with the world, really way too small. And the way is to cooperate with regional countries around and try to make that region strong. It takes some time. Like I said, small states is easy to be successful, but trying running a region just like Germany or France. It's the same concept.
So now we're coming back a bit about your background. So as we know, you grew up in Singapore, so you must have experienced a lot about ASEAN culture. So we want to ask that, what part in the ASEAN business culture does still challenge you in the daily work in Switzerland?
Yes, I do. When I, like I've mentioned in my presentation, when I came to Switzerland to study, I was very surprised how relaxed Swiss student can be. I mean, you think that it is not relaxed because you grew up like that, but because if you grew up in a place where you study from 8 to whatever time that you have, coming here you have a time to actually study, and you actually have time to play. That's something I find special. Yeah, you don't really get in Asia. It's usually like, okay, what's next? Study. What's next? Piano. What's next? Swimming. What's next? What's next? What's next? It's all about learning. There's not really a time where in Switzerland you can really say like, okay, I'm not gonna sit back and not do anything. That's the difference, I think. And I'm still trying to learn how the Swiss people call it chillen, because I think I am brought up in a culture where if I chill, I feel like I've done something wrong. Like it's a wrong thing. It's not right to chill. And so I might come across to people as bossy. I might come across to people that I'm very ambitious, that I want to finish many things at the same time. But that is how I am being brought up. If you have pressure around all the whole region, all your friends and families, that's how you grow up. And then suddenly you come into the place where you have no one to answer to. You don't. When there's time to study, you study hard. But there is also time where you play hard, where you chill hard. You know, and that's where you have to start to learn to say that nobody is gonna watch you to see how you chill. Einfach chill. That's the problem. I think I still couldn't reach that stage. Yeah.
Yes. So as I can see that you're really ambitious and seems to be like you want to earn the best with everything you do. So as I can see, you used to be the part of Inside China 2012. So what do you think after like 7 years, do you see any developments along all of those international student projects?
Of course I do. I left the school when Explore ASEAN started. That was where I graduated. I think because I also did some presentation for Inside China a few years ago as well. I find projects like this makes you grow. You will find that many people will be like, yeah, just join the delegate. Why do you want to do a project team? Why do you want to be the PR team? Why? Because these will give you the additional edge you need when you go out in the workforce. Everybody will earn the same degree. Who cares about your GPA? No one. No one. Not even my boss. They just need to see, you have a bachelor, okay, now you can do a master's. You have a master's, now you can do a PhD. No one will ask on your GPA. But I'm not saying that you don't have to be hardworking, but I'm just saying that you need to do something more with yourself in order to prove that you're better than the other. And that you are more worthy for that job or for that position that you want. I think that is the main thing that doesn't change regardless where, if you're in FHNW or anywhere, and that's something a student must have that should not change. Everything else is good for a change. If you never change, you never grow.
That's really useful. So now we'll come to the final questions. You are now the alumni of FHNW, so do you have any recommendations for us students in the final year before graduation?
Enjoy. Enjoy studying. I miss studying when I left school. You always want something you never have. When you're studying, you wish you have a job. But when you have a job, you wish you have more time. That's always the case. But I think I have made so many Swiss friends that you will be surprised, because I was the only Asian in class, and I made so many Swiss friends, and so many Swiss friends stayed so loyal. Every year we met up in Zurich, we tell each other where we are, what we have done, and encourage each other to move even higher. I think that is something so valuable that you will never get. It's not about your GPA, it's not about what project you do, it's not about if you're top in a class or not, if you are the Streber or not, doesn't matter. What matters is when you look back one day as an alumni, you say, ja, mega geil, ich habe das gemacht. Das habe ich geschafft, aber mit meinen Kollegen zusammen. I think that is something you should strive for. If you have not reached there, use the last years as you can. This is never the same.